The transfer window opens later this week, and the end of June is a key time for Man Utd, with loan players returning and the accounting deadline approaching. One twist as a result of the Premier League's desire to bring in tighter spending rules and harsher sanctions for clubs who breach them is the creation of what is essentially another transfer deadline day. June 30 is a date circled in red in the calendar for some clubs this summer. Manchester United will certainly have an eye on that date as they continue to stay within the Premier League's Profit and Sustainability Rules, PSR. The early exit from the Champions League and European competition altogether last December only tightened the margin when it comes to following those rules. They allow for 105 meters of losses across 3 years, but knowing exactly where a club stands isn't easy. With some investments such as academies, women's football, and community schemes written off, while allowable losses for COVID will also be factored in for the final time in this 3-year monitoring period. United's main issue is their $150 million loss from 2021-2022, some of which will be wiped off the final calculations due to the issues around revenues during COVID that season. That loss will also disappear for the next monitoring period. For now, it makes sales more likely than arrivals before June 30th. Other clubs are in a more precious position, with Chelsea, Everton, and Nottingham Forest all trying to get departures booked by the end of this month to avoid charges. The Premier League bared its teeth last season, with points deductions for those clubs falling foul of the rules. United would love to complete a sale or two before June 30 in what is likely to be a window heavily influenced by departures. Any profit they can book by the end of this month would certainly help ease any financial concerns. Maybe the most likely players to leave are the trio of first-teamers who spent at least some of last season on loan. Donny van de Beek, Jadon Sancho, and Mason Greenwood all see their loans with Eintracht Frankfurt, Borussia Dortmund, and Getafe, respectively, end on June 30th as well. As it stands, none of them have a future at Old Trafford. Van de Beek has found it impossible to break into the midfield. Sancho has fallen out with Erik ten Hag, and Greenwood won't play for the club again. They had contrasting loan spells away. Van de Beek's frustrations continued as he made just 8 appearances for the Bundesliga side, who have already ruled out triggering the option to buy him permanently. Sancho helped drive Dortmund to the Champions League final, and they would like to keep him, while Greenwood was Getafe's player of the season, but the La Liga side can't afford to bring him back. Ideally, United would like to sell all 3. In reality, they accept that might not be so simple, but the priority for now is to find buyers. In Van de Beek's case, that will be difficult given his lack of football, which now amounts to just 20 appearances across 2 seasons. Anko is a more attractive proposition, and while a permanent return to Dortmund is seen as the easiest deal to do, they aren't awash with cash, and his Champions League performances have alerted other interested clubs. Greenwood also has interest from big clubs in Europe, and United would look to bring in at least $60 million from the sale of those 2 attackers. Although the depression of the market on the continent means that isn't guaranteed, that makes loan departures for all 3 possible once again. That is likely to be something considered later in the window, however. For now, United have their sights set on sales, and if they can execute at least one before June 30, then that will be considered a success.